My name is Writerreyes. We're here on another episode of Nakedly Under Construction. It is Writerreyes, not Writereyes, which means my last name is Kings, which makes me the Writer King. But in this instance, we're going to hear me talk a little bit. Well, mostly my guests are going to talk a lot. So today I have Selena Ferrer here. I have been waiting years to interview her. She expresses herself in so many different ways, and I'm going to let her tell a little bit about herself so she's not sitting here awkwardly.
Hey everyone, my name is Selena Ferrer. I'm 26 years old from Tampa, Florida. I am a avid painter, muralist, graphic designer, art educator, performer, and I would probably end it there.
Fine artist, new media. You mentioned that.
Yeah, new media. I also do
Dancing. Did we mention
dancing.
that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So many things. So many things. And you mentioned graphic design
Yes.
and like all those things in detail.
Yes.
When I first met Selena, I don't know if you remember, but I was in St. Pete. I don't remember like exactly the venue, and you were dancing outside on the sidewalk. There were like markets lining the street, and like people
Probably.
with different like venues and different vendors. And I just walked up to her because no matter where you are, you just seem to like you bring the vibe.
Thank you.
And that's why we wanted to have her on Nakedly Under Construction so you guys she can bring a little bit of the vibe to you. So let's dive into what was the first mean or mode of artist or creativity that you did?
So
How old were you?
I started in high school. Yeah, it was kind of just showing up to art class and having a little bit more interest in it. I kind of would ask my teachers and pick their brain a little bit more about how I could use a medium or this or that. And it kind of grew into teachers, wanting me to, design a banner for the hallway. Hey, Selena, could you help us out with, putting this announcement out? And so I started with lettering. Really just simple, like, drawing on paper, doodling in class, to then bringing it into volunteer work in school. And I think it just grew that way organically. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So did you do, I know like theater is a big thing for you. Did you do that back then? Or like where did that come out? Because I know that happens a lot in high school. When did
Yeah.
that come into the picture?
Yeah, theater didn't come into the picture till college.
Okay.
I wasn't really drawn, or I guess didn't know the ropes. I think I was drawn to drawing and things like visual art first, but it wasn't until college that I kind of started to grow my confidence and then, start to dabble in theater, because I think I wasn't as comfortable in my body then than when in my later years. Yeah.
Do you think it had something to do with like, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like there's almost been this like create almost another creative renaissance when like when we were younger, I feel like it wasn't like necessarily, I don't know for you, for me, you were a nerd if you were creative. Like you were, it wasn't like necessarily socially acceptable.
No,
It was
yeah.
just you were like the weird person doing this or drawing this or coloring
Yeah.
this or over here being creative, dancing or whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you felt when you were growing up, or what was it like for you?
Um, I think that I certain moments felt awkward with art, and knew that when I would practice, people would kind of ask me, around school, like, "Oh, like you should do tattoos." It
Of
was a big,
course.
it was a big
Yeah.
deal in high school to get tatted,
Yeah.
get yatted,
Yeah.
And I would just like scribble on people's arms and draw doodles and just give it to them. Like it wasn't anything related to just like become or being an artist. It was just kind of like, oh yeah, I do this thing, and certain people weren't into it. But I wasn't loud
It's like
about
something
it.
you were good at.
Yeah, it was something I was good at, just something I wasn't loud about at
Yeah.
that time. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So, were you creative at all as a child? Like in like when you were a kid in elementary school and middle school? Because I know you said you mostly started in high school. Because we just knowing the Selena Ferrer that they're gonna hear about now and that I'm getting to know and
Yeah.
that I've seen, it's just it boggles my mind to ever imagine you not being creative.
Thanks. Uh, how it was then
Yeah.
to now.
Like as a kid, because you said that you started doing more of the lettering and
Lettering.
drawing and like that
Yeah.
stuff in art class in high school. So
Yeah.
I'm like, so that's like, we're talking about maybe 13, 14 then. So what about before that?
Yeah, so before that, my dad used to introduce us to draw at the table, help draw books, and my dad is an artist, and he, although doesn't practice as much as he used to, he still brought that type of joy to us at an early age. And my mother as well always supported like the creative arts. And so I would say, I mean, even in primary school, just like 7, 8 years old, my parents supported bringing us near art stuff, buying us drawing books, help guides, so yeah, I think there was a push from the family. Yeah, certainly.
Have you always felt like a creative? Like when they asked you what you wanted to be when you grew up before high school, what was your answer?
I did not at all want to be an artist when I got out of high school. I think that it was a talent, but I didn't really see it like as a picture coming out of high school. That
As being you.
yeah, that was kind of the Selena self-discovery when I got into the 18 to early 20s. It was kind of a journey that I decided, oh, like maybe I can take this professionally. Yeah, it took time. It took time, but my parents supported me nonetheless. In every decision. If I wanted to study, which was
So
physical.
what did you want to do?
Yeah, so
what was the
I
original plan?
have an interesting background. So my high school thesis or final project was I wanted to be a personal trainer.
What?
Yeah, I was obsessed with athletics. I played basketball for
into
4 years.
Guys.
Yeah, so I was a bit of an athlete growing up, but I decided I wanted to do personal training to then wanting to do physical therapy. So I went to school for physical therapy first. I studied in Chattanooga, Tennessee, so that's 423.
Hey.
Rep my original raisin city. But now I rep 813 Tampa. So it is it started with physical therapy, and then I changed majors.
So you still really into being physically healthy and
Yeah.
all like being muscular and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Or being healthy or
I think I was
like being
hyper.
fit or like so you can dance or like go more into that.
I was hyper. I was hyper, so like sports were good for me.
Were?
I am. I still very hyperactive. No, I mean, I delved into like health and wellness in my teens because of just like, life circumstances. It ended up being very therapeutic. And yeah,
Can I ask you what the life circumstances might have been?
Yeah, life circumstances was like, I think, when you have those moments where you go through something in life and you have like, this was me before and this was me after. Like, this was the life before this thing happened, and then this is the life I have after this thing happened.
What's the thing that happened?
So the thing that happened was experiencing depression. The thing that happened was just like a lot of turmoil in terms of views, values between my family. I mean, there was just a lot of like self-discovering I was doing at an early age. Sure. And was, I think, starting to acknowledge and pursue my own beliefs at a younger age.
That made you pursue physical health. That's interesting.
Yeah, and it's like when I was going through difficult times, then I leaned into fitness and sports. So I think being in sports at an early age taught me to facilitate and cope with exercise and breathing and things like that. Like, I was very aware of therapy, I think, at a young age in terms of sports and things like that.
Do you still involve yourself in fitness related activities?
Oh yeah, I have a routine.
Yeah
I have had fell off the bandwagon like everyone and their mother, But I think now, like, I value it a lot more. Yeah, it
Yeah.
just, I value it more than what I used to. I see actually the meaning of like what it is to, save time and pursue like mental health,
Does it, I was gonna say, was my question was gonna be, does it still support your mental health?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you feel like your mental health fails or weakens, or you do worse when you don't work out?
absolutely.
Yeah. How often do you work out?
3 to 4 times a week.
Do you do more like weightlifting? Is it the dancing? What kind of workouts do you do?
So I try to do 3 times a week of strength training
Okay.
and incorporating resistance or weights. And then that fourth day to, fifth day. And honestly try to get walking in every day. But I would say like exercise, I try to do that fourth day with dance, walking, maybe low impact exercises. My world has opened up since I accepted, like, I don't have to be like a gym bro.
Yeah.
I can like do other things
To be
that
active.
to be agile, to be mobile. There's a
Yeah.
culture.
Yeah.
I definitely, have implemented, some of the gym culture in my life, but I wouldn't say I'm the personal trainer, physical therapist that
That
I
you
thought I
wanted to
was gonna
be.
be. Became the artist instead.
But we can roll that into dancing because that's a
Yeah.
big part of you being an artist, right? So can we
Yes.
talk a little bit about that and how you discovered that and what kind of dancing that you do and how you express yourself that way?
Yeah, so I would say I started dancing at the age of 10. My brother.
That's before high school.
That's for high. Yeah, that's before high school for sure. My brother, honestly, we had such a great relationship. I have two brothers. One of them particularly picked up a lot of hobbies.
Yeah.
Dancing was one of them. And yeah, it was just his mirror. Like I wanted to do the things that he wanted to do. He was my best friend, and like there's when he started picking up pop locking,
Oh,
I
boy.
got into it. So we found ourselves like literally in the bathroom mirror practicing the wave. And yeah, I ended up like always practicing. I loved it. And I was shy though, like I would bring a move or two to
Yeah.
a party.
Yeah.
And I didn't party a lot as a middle schooler, but when we
Yeah.
had those like breaks,
Made sure she said that, didn't she?
yeah, I was not a young partier. Like when we did have those moments, I would, break it out. But I was still so nervous.
Yeah.
I was still so nervous, and I don't think my family caught on to the dancing.
Yeah.
I grew up dancing salsa and merengue,
Oh.
bachata because I'm Puerto Rican.
I was like, whoa, we're going back down to the ethnicity. Tell us what you are, where you're from.
Um,
Tell us about your culture, and does that show
yeah.
through in your art?
Yeah, so both of my parents are Puerto Rican, and I don't know if it was just my family household culture, but my mom made sure to tell us it's a priority to learn how to dance. She said, you learn how to dance, it's good for your body. And she's like, also, if you ever want to attract a partner, knowing how to dance is a way. Yeah, she was real forward. Yeah. She was real forward, about the joy and the benefits of dance.
Yeah.
So, I owe it to my mom. My dad loves dance. He's just like not the dancer, but my mom really implemented that at a young age.
So your family used to go to dances together, or just like randomly
dance together.
They like throw on some music and I'll be dancing in the living room, or like what did that look like?
Yeah, just like family celebrations,
Yeah.
holidays, like really just wholesome times of just like getting exercise in, with your family. And but I think like the street dance and kind of like funk roots style dancing, I followed my own journey into that.
How did that look going into that journey? How did you learn different techniques from there, and what techniques did you just decide you wanted to learn and why?
So I definitely was, introduced to funk at an early age, and hip hop. I mean, like my brother was like, he was playing Nas, he was playing Big L, he was playing Biggie, he was playing Pac. Like I grew up with like hip hop culture, so I think it was just one of those like styles that I really enjoyed. And I started though with funk, like kind of like trying to those OG fundamentals, because it was kind of cleaner music.
Is that what you listen to?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Till this day, I'm like a heavy on like jazz and like funk and R&B and kind of those
You're a soul
soulful
person, huh?
genres.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, that's how it started. But I started to evolve it in high school when I was going through, difficult times transitioning from high school to college and this whole pressure of like, you're an adult now. I was like coping with that with dance.
Yeah.
And it ended up being like a life-saving therapy for me. And I realized like I had to overcome being shy if I was going to reap the benefits of something that was truly beneficial for me.
So when you go out to perform, or start dancing in public, are you already, are you shy when you start dancing, or have you already overcome it? Because I know some people that are like, I have to start dancing to get the shy to go away. Like.
I think I've overcome it.
Yeah.
I can say that. And it's been a long time that it took me a while to say that, but I feel that now. I think now the question in my head is like, can I do this and in this place and like, not throw off like, I don't know if it's a special event. I typically want to dance all the time. Yes. And there's moments to
every time I see you dancing. And I love it.
Yeah. Like if it's like it's like I would say, black tie, black dress event, like, there's beautiful moments to like wear the heels and do the fun thing, but I mean, I typically like to stay around the fun, like if it's an event where I can let my body be loose, that's usually where you're gonna find me.
Yeah. What do you think gets channeled through dancing and through music?
Oh my God. It's an engine for relaxation. Like it's an engine and a train to relaxation. It's like it drives you to a level of confidence. I have low confidence days too, and there's moments where like I'll have to move and get into that, and it does end up building my confidence in that moment, like there's no linear level of confidence. I think that you overcome a lot of things, but even on those low energy days, I'm using this system to like help me, and it's a vibe, you want to bring good energy and good movement and just brings a room of people together.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's personally the Selena Ferrer that I know, but I know that there are different versions of you. So you also have you said you're a wall muralist.
Yes.
How did you get into doing that, from doing letters in high school to dancing and now doing murals?
Thank you for asking, because it's such a unique journey. I started with studying. I went to USF. It's an awesome college here in Tampa, Florida, and I studied studio art. So I started with drawing and painting, but I ended up working on canvas first before I got to the murals. And it wasn't until I was in the pandemic and I was graduating during the pandemic. Yeah, I was graduating with my bachelor's during the pandemic, and I found an internship, and it was to do murals.
I do think I remember you mentioning this.
Yeah. And like, I had volunteered to do murals in college. This is that Selena that like, let me pick the teacher's brain.
Yes.
But I did a volunteer project, and I was like, I had fun, like instead of doing my other studies, if I was like painting, I went to the game room, and this was a volunteer project in college. I said, what is an internship gonna be? This is like, the value of potentially breaking into the field. And so I studied under a mentor when I was 21, and I used to commute 3 hours for
wanted that.
And I would have to figure out my lodging. I'd have to figure it out to make that internship work. And I only bring that up because I was truthfully taking a chance.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know who or what I was gonna do, but I knew I was gonna study under an artist. And guess what? I was a big fan of this mentor. Which, shout out Craig McKinnon's. I still call him my mentor today.
Hey.
I was a big fan of his art. I was a big fan of his lifestyle. I was a big fan of who he was. So if it really wasn't for him and, you know, the drive to want to learn from him, I would have never gotten into the mural business. But I learned a lot under his wing, and I started to, you know, craft a business of my own. I said, well, you know, I got out of college. The only two things I want to do is make art and, you know, make it a business. But I didn't know what that was going to look like. So for me, the murals, transitioning from canvas to wall was kind of, you know, my dead giveaway. I was like, well, if I can paint small scale, let me see if I can do a big scale.
Can you?
Yes.
It's like, yeah. Is there anywhere where so people can check out any murals that you've done?
Yes. So more of my murals are in Ybor. So if you look at the historic district, just a few blocks away from 7th Avenue, I have a mural on East 2nd Avenue.
Check that out.
Yes, so not too far. And then I have various murals inside of a new apartment complex that is on East 2nd Avenue as well. So yeah, a lot of my work has been central to Ybor.
That's great. That's great. And now, last but not least, theater and independent film. How did you get into that? And is that more current, up to date? And how do you feel about it?
Yeah. So I would say theater and film is more current. And it wasn't until I was doing my visual arts, I kind of hit the 5-year mark of my practice, that I was like, would I want to take up, you know, another art form? And it was kind of like an escape at first, a hobby at first. And it wasn't only till recently that I've actually been involved in, you know, real productions and like have taken it into a professional mindset. But it all started with my brother. I have two brothers. One is actually a graphic designer. The second brother is a cinematographer.
Not artistic.
Yeah, I guess it's in the family, but no, I mean, my brother started out making home tapes, you know? So I was like 7 years old acting for a home video, and he, you know, he directs today, but he was just like, you know, I was the little sister.
Yeah.
So I was like sometimes like the puppet for like
whatever he said,
whatever roles, you know, like I'm just in my big brother's lead, but that at a young age has full circle come back to now. I have a lead role in an independent short film that was produced here in Tampa, and then now it opened up my world to like, oh, theater is so unique, and it has so many variables, you know, and it's like you know, film production and theater has so many roles. And it's just kind of a chaotic place. And I think, like, as an artist, there's moments where I need that chaos, you know? And it is, there's also moments where it's a lot, you know? It's,
why do you need that chaos?
I think it spices up the innovation. I think, for me, like, I can only say I've been confident to believe in my imagination, because it's something you have to relearn as an adult. You know, a lot of the judgment and paths that people go through, and at least what I went through, it's like, you know, this is a cold world, there's a real world, be logical, you know, you need to have a goal, you need to have something to contribute to the society, you know, but where's the time for play? Where's the time for, you know, taking a chance on an idea or spending time in make-believe? All of those things you have to sometimes relearn. So I feel as though, like I'm in my mid-20s now, and I'm valuing just the idea of like, you know, make-believe, and like times where it can be really, you know, relieving.
It's okay to be a little bit messy sometimes.
Yeah.
and let that show in different ways, and just letting life kind of like take its course, because the rest of the time you try to make sure everything's aligned so you can like balance everything, so it's okay to just be in the moment, it sounds like you're saying.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's great to hear. So let's get a little bit more into, do you have anything spiritual that helps you with everything that you express with your creativity? Is there anything like that that kind of motivates you or inspires you?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I picked up journaling I would say about 4 years ago, and I mean it's done a lot for me and my mental health to just like sit and write, and also to just be in nature. There's other practices of prayer, and like taking time to sit still and kind of delve into, praying for peace and praying for good health,
Amen.
praying for fellowship and things like that. So I think completely it's a pillar towards, what I do.
What's something that you've had to overcome that if you had not overcome would have made or broke you? What's a story? I mean, you've told us a lot, but what is a story that really will show us what changed and made you the person that you were today? Or an experience that you feel like really displays you?
Yeah. I think there was a time in my teens when I was really I was understanding the pressure that I had both societally and also, through immediate family, and what it was to find myself and my own beliefs. And so, um, yeah, there was just a big moment of desolation in my teens where I kind of like spaced myself away from my family. I spaced myself away from certain environments that I no longer agreed with. Um, and I think that in those times, I really like saw, what it is to be alone in your thoughts, what it is to, kind of take a step back and really analyze like who is coming into your day to day. Like I had been backstabbed by people. I had been, dealing with just things that anybody could go through this, like it wasn't just me. I knew that there was like this idea of like, you know, anybody can be given a shit show and what you do with it.
So, what is your advice to people going through stuff like that from what
Yeah.
you've experienced since then and what you've discovered?
Yeah, I think my biggest advice would definitely be to, find your thing, find your tribe. Definitely find people that can uphold and support you and your ideas. It's a big journey to try to be
Absolutely.
forward in what you say and what you believe and what you stand on. So I think it's important for you to find that ground, and like if you can figure that out on how to keep your peace in a shaky, chaotic environment, that's the work. That's the work that you need to do. And it looks different for everybody. Mine was like painting and fitness and finding those things that help me stay afloat. Yeah.
Right. So, I know that just now you talked a lot about what it was like to be kind of closed off in your mind and get to a place where you're kind of lonely and trying to figure out everything out, it sounded like. So now I know that you help with the community. How did you get from one place to another, and then what does that look like? What kind of things do you do for the community? Like, we know you do all these amazing things where we can all see that it's fantastic and you're just inspiring everybody. But what other kind of things do you do for the community?
So the things that I've volunteered for the community have been event curation and just a lot of event and set decoration, as well as, giving contribution of my dance and my joy, and spreading more awareness of, what it is I do on a daily basis, and just kind of with a central theme of explaining to people, this is how I find my joy, and like that contribution is something I keep near and dear to my heart. Yeah, there's times for, volunteering, and times to, do your livelihood and things like that. But I always, have people in my circle
I feel like
that
you're
like,
always giving back to the community, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to ask that question. Or half the time I'm talking to
well,
you, you're
it's good.
talking about
It's,
some kind of
yeah,
project that you're involved
it's
with,
good
you
for the
know?
soul. It's good for the soul. Like, one of the hardest things when I was accepting that I wanted to break into the field as a professional artist was like the conversation with money, and the conversation with like, doing things that are under your umbrella, and then there's also moments where you're building, and for me, like, I feel like I'm always trying to be a student of life. So I'm always building. I'm always, if there's a new idea, like it's like a shiny diamond in my eyes. Like, I have people in my community that are like, hey, I got this thing, Selena, like, you dance, right? Could you go ahead and perform? Oh, hey, wait, hey, Selena, you do some art, right? Is there any way that you could throw something in here? Like I see these ideas as like shiny objects, and I'm just like, I think that's just the humility part of this journey, is that like there was times where I wasn't always giving out. Okay? There was times where I was more to myself,
Right.
and it just didn't feel like me.
You just have to fill up your cup first, girl.
Yeah.
You can't pour from
No,
an
and
empty cup,
it's
right?
true. It's true. I have been victim to spreading myself thin. Like, there's a lot of things that I do to, you know, feel myself, but they've changed like so much.
Yeah.
The minute that I accepted that I was going to be a role in this community was the minute that I like, said, okay, like show up and learn and be there. So I just feel like I have drive to get my hands on everything, like I do have a full schedule,
Yeah.
and that's just the reality, but it's okay.
What does your day-to-day look like?
Man, it's usually thinking about some idea or some project. I have like probably 5 projects going on in rotation right now. So, yeah, I think I always keep different projects going on. I think it helps me stay agile. It helps me stay limber.
Yeah.
That's just
How do you organize your time like that?
man, a
'Cause
calendar.
I'm like that too, where I'm like want to be involved in so many different things, and I want to do so many different things, and I'm over here like trying to balance. How do you balance the personal life versus the community and giving back versus taking care of yourself and just being artistic?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, there's big I would say like having difficult conversations, because you know, I was on the way here and I was, you know, thinking in my head like, I've got big things that I'm going to establish for the coming year. I have a studio that I'm working on. I have, a merchandise line that I wanna launch. I have, things that I want to do in terms of performance and acting, a different side of myself that I want to show people. Like, these are all things that
Is
are.
this just something you want to show people or something you're finding yourself?
I think finding myself
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah.
No, because it's your brand.
Yeah.
My brand has changed a lot. But I will say that like the difficult conversations is like sometimes you have to sever ties, to projects. And that's the hard part, because I think like you'll be in a community pool and it's like, oh man, I loved being in this film pool for this season, but then there's a time where I'm like, I think I have to let this rest
I
to
like
incubate
that. So there's seasons
other
of your
idea.
life.
Completely.
That's what that sounds like. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like it's a blessing and a privilege to say that I even have these seasons, and like in a way, yeah, it keeps me working every day, but it also I always wake up like, wow, like I get to do this kind of this thing, you know, like to just have a season for this. If I want to do that, I get to have a season for this. Like it truly is like I try to live my life like opening doors because I want to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you fully able to you make a living off of your art at this point?
Yeah, yeah, it's the first time in my life where I am going to be able to afford, you know, rent for
Yeah,
a
that's living.
studio,
Yeah.
and it's like a big deal. You
Yeah.
know, it's been a long time I've been saving, and like there's been a lot of decisions, and also, you know, like I said, my brand's changing, and so are my production processes and my finances. So, yeah, I mean, I can't ever sit or sleep at night saying like I'll be separated from my community, because the truth is I need my
Sounds like
community
it rotates.
on a daily
Yeah.
basis. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, my community is my bread and butter. They're the people that are involved in letting me do the things that I do in their spaces as well, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, question, what do you think the devil is in the details means?
Ooh. I think of listening, like, and paying attention.
Yeah.
Like, I think that I don't think the devil is creative.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I think that we oftentimes just lose focus.
Okay.
And when you think about the details, it's like if we're paying attention to the details, we're going to see the devil and in whatever the details
There will
may
be
be.
something that there will be
Of
something to
course.
critique, something
Yeah, there's
bad,
the
but
con,
like,
there's the pro and the
for
con
everything.
in every situation. So, depending and managing your focus, you know, are you going to pay attention to what is, you know, deliberately evil, or are you going to pay attention to what is positive and is building something of abundance? It's your focus.
So, with that being said, we're going to get a little bit deeper. So, this is the part of Nakedly Under Construction where at this point you should know the artist enough. You know her name is Selena. You know a little bit about, you learned all about her history and how she got to where she is. We went through all the different skills and talents that she has to her day to day and what she has coming up. Now let's get more into how she thinks and feels so that we can understand a little bit deeper about the things that she expresses. And that I hope you guys check out, you follow her, you see as she progresses with her brand, with her art, because this is somebody you really want to make the time to see. So, with that being said, do you think there are good people and bad people, or is it all more like your choices, you know, or are there only good and bad choices and everybody's the same?
Hmm.
If you're
I
bad, can a bad person become good, or are people kind of more genetically set up one way or another?
mm, oof. No. I say I don't think there is it's that black and white. I don't think it's, and it's ironic that I say that, but
Oh, it's ironic that I asked that question with all those black and white in this
yeah.
picture.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't say there are bad people. I would say, or good people. I would say that there is circumstance and seeds that are planted. Um, there's a, you know, popular quote that we always know: "You reap what you sow," and there's history in why people are bad, and there's history in why people are good. And I think it's the ongoing biggest question of all, like, will and can we understand that there are bad people? No, I think there are choices in season and ebb and flow of what we do in this life that plants a good seed or it plants a bad seed.
So what about the people that have gone through a lot of bad stuff and no matter what they seem like they can't turn it around?
I
Where
think
they always say
our
like I always feel that pull to go back to the cigarette. I always have that pull to go back to those bad habits, you know, and then you have the other people who like are so nice that you're like, how do you smile all the time? How do you never let anything let you down? So for the people that are struggling more with that, like How do you think that works?
Yeah, I think that it is.
Like, is a murderer a good person, or was he when he like he might have been abused by his dad or gone through something hard, which or the things, situations, and circumstances in his life might have created who he is, or is it something that he would have already always been somebody who had this inkling in him to hurt or kill the same way we have that inkling in us to create and inspire?
Mm,
Because that's something that we feel on us as artists, right? So
mm-mm,
wouldn't that also apply for other people and the things that they have in them, or
mm-mm,
no? But then
mm-mm,
that would also mean that we're going against the thing and we are saying they're good and bad people.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I think willpower exists. I think willpower exists. However, I also believe illness, and trauma and historical events play a huge role in what people can and can't do. Um, I still am a firm believer of um, willpower because a lot of that has to do with choice. But I will never belittle or degrade the fact that illness and trauma and things corrupt the body and corrupt the mind.
So why do bad things happen to good people?
I believe that we are all put on this earth to contribute something good. And I think that that is the purpose and the values that I think and practice is that there is something good that we contribute. We are not perfect. I don't believe perfection exists. Um, by design, I do believe in a higher power. I do believe in God. I do believe in the idea of perfect design. I do not believe that it's, however, within human capacity to actually do something good to the world without doing bad first.
Would it be a little bit of both?
Yeah, like I think the human race is trial and error.
I love that. I think it is too. I do too. And that would kind of go into my next question, because you just mentioned about like moments and experiences and things. So, what is time, and what are we really measuring? Do you think that time is real?
I think time is real in regards to our bodies and the science of our bodies. But I think what is spiritual cannot be calculated or measured in time. So I think that's what spirituality is to me. It's something that it does surpass calculation of time, because it's more so the rhythm of life, not the logic and like the science of life.
Yeah.
It is the rhythm and the beat and the pulse and kind of the climaxes.
I like that you said you kind of believe in both, like the spirituality and the creativity, and you just mentioned the science too.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, because I can't be full forward on one. I think that we have to acknowledge all sides of human, benefit and like just, progression.
I completely agree. Well, now that we've gotten into the deep part of your mind and soul,
You are going into the pits.
This is why
We are
call
going
the blog
down to the basement.
Nakedly Under Construction. This is why you can see all the vulnerability and authenticity we try to pull out of people, and that's
I'm so happy to be
especially
here.
this
Yeah.
artist.
No,
So,
thank you for having me. I love this stuff.
Thank you so much for being here. I hope that we can have you again, have you involved with different nakedly under construction projects that we're going to do. Where should we follow you and where can we check out your stuff?
Yes, thank you. My name is Selena Ferrer. You can find me at Selena, Selena, Ferrer, Ferrer, art.
And my name is Writerreyes. This is my blog, Nakedly Under Construction, where I show you off.